The views and opinions expressed in this video are solely those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views of this channel or any affiliated organizations. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Because when we started the company, our tagline or our goal is to really accelerate decentralization and digital asset adoption. When you read kasi Bill Gates' notes, he's not really very bullish about Web3. In fact, he thinks that it doesn't exist now.
It's a real threat, right? Like, imagine if that's true, then you can hack my details now.
If you create your own, protocols, etc., Filipino won't understand that. And in fact, leave it to now.
Importante siya for the next digitalization era.
Hey guys, this is Blockchain for Executives podcast, where we have one single mission, is to teach you how you can leverage blockchain technology in your business. I'm Christian Carapas and I'm your co-host for today, and I will help you understand, together with our main host Alvin Reyes, how blockchain can be leveraged in your business. I think it's time for our main guest for tonight, Paul, to introduce himself. I've known Paul so much ever since I started, mainly because at the time when I entered into the Web3 startup space, the first people I met in the first office that actually let me in was Likha. So that was a memorable moment, and I was meeting Jello. I was like, yeah, these people are building something great. And at such a young age, to start na siya maging entrepreneur, working hard. So yeah, that inspired me. So Sir Paul, how are you over there, and what have you been up to? Have you been up to your entire life, and what are you passionate about right now?
Oh, sure. I'm into the space for like Alvin 2015, diba, when Ethereum happened. And again, diba, you're reading the chat, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I always think it's a scam. I thought it's a scam, diba? When I read the white paper in 2010, that's why I did not invest. But when Ethereum came around 2015, diba, the launch, and also hyperledgers, etc. So I'm an ERP guy. Diba, I'm in the enterprise application as well. But I stopped. I coded like mga 5 years in the ERP industry. So I know the debit credit, I know the banking, but I use that not to capitalize on my software architecture journey as well. By profession, before becoming an entrepreneur, I'm an enterprise architect. Doing business applications, from CRM to ERP to BI to data warehouse. So that's my background. Yeah.
Yun. So I think Bro Alvin sa si Paul, you guys are really matched when it comes to the level of at least experience in enterprise, like software architect, and currently still a chief architect or software architect mainly, which is really interesting because we're gonna go into a topic today which is very heavily reliant on architecture, at least in my perspective, which is Bayani chain, right? So aside from I want us to go deeper into Bayani chain because it's something that not a lot of people, at least from my perspective, appreciate as much as I do as a technologist. So we want to go deeper into that. Sir Paul, walk us through Bayani chain, what you guys are doing right now, and then as well as let's talk a bit of the architecture because Alvin would definitely take joy from that discussion. I don't know about joy, bro.
So yeah.
Sige, sure. So we started around 2021. I think it was in July or August, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think August. So Jello actually coined the word Bayani chain or the company's name. I coined the Likha as the NFT marketplace. So I thought whatever Jello was thinking about, it's too shallow for Bayani chain. So that's why we started first the Likha creation. Diba? Sabi namin, you just need pala artist and marketplace. Why do you want to create a blockchain out of that? Diba? So let's just create an NFT marketplace. So that's our thesis for us to dabble into a more B2C kind of project. No? But along the way, of course, since my background is really B2B, in fact, my first venture was Raven, which is a property management system. It's also a B2B platform. Then I have also my dev house, which is Hacktiv, which is a Microsoft partner, Microsoft back in terms of project fundings, etc. Here in the Philippines and also in the APAC region. So my forte is really into B2B side. So Yeah, so that's why when we started Bayani Chain, we thought of like we cannot really go into a deeper like adoption level, because when we started the company, our tagline or our goal is to really accelerate decentralization and digital asset adoption. So if you create your own like protocols, etc., Filipino won't understand that, and in fact even up to now. No? So we decided to focus more on like creating community, creating the marketplace, etc. And of course, since I've been doing Ethereum, so in a way I'm an Ethereum maxi. That's why we chose to build on top of Polygon, right, as a layer 2. Since of course we're trying to avoid also the gas fee that time in the layer 1. And our target is also mass adoption. To have an OpenSea counterpart. But of course we know the story. I mean, NFT is currently like naghihingalo, diba, in a nutshell.
Yep, right now, yeah, yep.
What we know, right, the usual use case, which is art, PFP games, etc. So we're not in a way we're not in a good market now, right? So so we then in 20, I think that was in the last part of 2020 or mid 2022, we accelerated already the roadmap. So we went further into building Bayani Chain already as blockchain as a service.
Yep.
There were there were kind of in a way for us parang a lot of brainstorming and also market research before we really started Bayani Chain as a product, before it's a company. But we thought of like, no, it's sayang naman yung pangalan, di ba? Might as well to make it as a product. Yeah, and we have really a good in a way roadmap. We just needed to to skip some of the supposed to be consumer side that we want to release, but we postponed those and move quickly to having the blockchain as a service.
So like you're provisioning blockchains, right? So for private, public, and hybrid. So and I think so website you mentioned for public you use Polygon, and then I guess for hybrid, I'm not sure if this is a Hyperledger type of service, or is it like, did Microsoft build their own blockchain? Or is it like based on Hyperledger as well? Kasi si IBM, meron silang IBM blockchain, pero it's actually based on Hyperledger. Si Oracle din, may sarili sila, pero it's also based on Hyperledger. Is it the same for Microsoft?
Yeah. So Microsoft has what we call the Microsoft Confidential Ledger.
Yeah.
So the Confidential Ledger is it's not built on top of a Hyperledger. It's really built
it's their own
by Microsoft.
Wow. Nice.
Yes. So ang tawag sa kanya Microsoft Confidential Computing. So it's a method, of course. It's not really, well, we're calling it as TLT, diba? And also distributed computing, decentralized, using blockchain mechanism like consensus, etc. But it's deeper than that, in a way that they're using some other encryption methodology, and also some sort of like MPCs, pinaghalo-halo in a nutshell. Diba? Tapos they have some corps that are into, in a nutshell, validators, no? Some sort of like.
Meron din sila, may validators in. Okay. I mean, I guess you have to have those like actors. So I guess like it's really for sort of private and consortium type networks.
Yes.
Right? We're private.
In fact, when I read, I usually read kasi Bill Gates notes. So there's some kind of journal that Bill Gates always, of course, the CEO now, Satya Nadella, and that's my idol, my hero. But when you read kasi Bill Gates notes, he's not really very bullish about Web3. In fact, he thinks that it doesn't exist now. But the technology itself, blockchain, they believe on that for like, in a way, the superior, the SQL server, diba? The SQL they really do, of course, the immutable ledger. Parang ngayon kasi like, if you're into enterprise system, even with AWS, even with other players, they're calling that immutable ledger. They don't even call that blockchain.
Immutable ledger,
When you, some sort of like, if they compare that to like, also this is no SQL, unstructured collections. The GraphQL, then you have the RDBMS, then you have the confidential ledger that they're calling. So in a way, parang, so it's part of the whole enterprise database now. But they don't call it blockchain.
Yeah, kasi parang na-associate si blockchain sa sa parang coins. It's always like it's technically yun yung pinaka-technical term in a way, distributed ledger technology, right? DLT siya. Then it is distributed, can be immutable based on the number of validators. Pero I kind of disagree sa ni Bill Gates na walang yung Web3. Like there's a lot of use case for data authenticity and data integrity. Parang medyo importante siya for the next digitalization era, right? And walang solution for tamper-proof or tamper-evident out there like a blockchain does, right? Tangle is another data structure that you can do, but may mga loopholes pa si Tangle. Pero si blockchain is, if you look at, let's say for example, Bitcoin, it's the first use case, diba, ng cryptocurrency, right? I know it's like the token is medyo hindi magandang speculation because of the value itself, pero the use case is there, like the data that makes it immutable and tamper-proof, right? And also trace and log. We need that kind of solution for the next digitalized era. So I don't know. Like, I don't know why. I guess he opposes them. I'm not sure. I never read that quote. I haven't read that quote from Bill Gates though. But I guess like he's pointing out about the cryptocurrency side of things. Maybe that's the reason why. Pero I see like blockchain is essential. It's essential to our really, like even so private, so consortium type, you still have this validator, this nodes that retains the integrity, right, of that ledger, and you need those, right? So
siguro
what's
go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, what's funny is that we're talking about different databases, DLT, tapos mga decentralized ledgers, diba? Ledgers kasi use the term nila. What's funny is I stumbled upon this ledger database on term nila by AWS. It's actually called Quantum Ledger Database. And I want to segue this in because it's so funny. It's called Quantum Ledger Database. Pero the marketing team of AWS is so good na ginamit na yung term na quantum.
But
Hindi
it's
siya yung
quantum.
I guess I guess iniisip ko kasi pwede kasi silang gumagamit. I haven't checked the source or the code. Pero it's possible that they're using quantum resistant encoding schemes. Maybe, right? Or
quantum
building
atomicity daw yung term nila, quantum or atomic transaction. Ganun yung term nila for quantum
atomic
sinabay nila sa trend. Pag pinakinggan quantum ledger database,
marketing marketing. Be interesting though na kung meron silang quantum computers talaga that will run those. See, that's you just going to be very performant then. And if they solve the quantum resistant issues no ibang chain, I'm not sure kung yung ibang chains nag-upgrade na ba sila into like to use the quantum resistant encoding schemes and ciphers. Kasi kung hindi sila nag-upgrade then ma-hack talaga sila ng quantum computers. Kasi meron na quantum computer sa IBM.
Yeah, even Google, but they're the first one who got quantum supremacy. So I'm into quantum physics now and some sort of like I'm reading it. And the only problem kasi it's all theory pa. There's no simulation that happened, but and the I forgot the meaning, but these are like the standards in the US. Released a statement or said in one of the I don't know if that's an interview or a conference that in 2029 the 128 encryption. AES will be decrypted by quantum.
By 2029,
but when I posted that, hati yung reaction parang they're saying that it's still hard for the quantum simulation to really break 128 kasi daw it will take you still millions of years to be able to break that. But I mean the problem now is parang everyone is parang just speculating kasi nga it's still hard for us to be able to use quantum to to do like what we're doing in the traditional computing, the ones and zeros but the bit. And it's quantum kasi it's super hard to maintain meaning mahal so
expensive
hindi pa sa atin nakakarating, but of course there are hackathons, but you don't naman use that, you don't code quantum every day like the qubits. There's no
Pero,
yeah.
I think what will happen is meron, I don't know, like, this is just my sort of observation lang din over the past like years or so. Lagi namang parang may may white hacker or white sort of side na they will always create something that will counter or will have like a better solution to counter kung ano yung effects ng negative effects ng computing power, right? So if the theory of that quantum computer breaking 128-bit encryption, then mostly for sure merong counter sa kanya, like lagi namang siyang ganun eh. So inisip ko we're gonna be okay as long as it's kasi it's a real threat, right? Like imagine if that's true, then what, like you can hack my bank details now.
Yeah.
You can like lahat na in-encrypt kong data before, parang ma-expose na, right? And of course, eventually, yung quantum computers magiging parang, kasi it's like our traditional computers right now. Di ba computers before, mahal siya. Like mahal yung before, like 1960s, mahal yung IBM computers, right? Ngayon, mura na siya. For sure, yung quantum computers, maging ganun din. Mahal siya sa una. And then eventually, by 2100 maybe, right? Mumura na siya.
So
parang, just gonna adjust.
You're familiar with the Moore's law, di ba? Like,
Moore's law here,
it's becoming more smaller, it's becoming more cheaper, and that's what happened. Like, but they were saying that, I don't know, like in 2035.
it's not gonna hold na down, no?
In 2035, it's not gonna, di ba kasi the more that lumiliit yan, in terms of electrons, diba? It passes through that, I mean, hindi mahihirapan na electrons to pass to the currently, di ba, that ships, the transistors, etc. It's gonna be, kasi switches yan di ba? The traditional computing relays yan 1 and 0, diba? Like maraming switch, turn off, saan pupunta dito, circuits. Pag sobrang liit na, mahihirap kasi nga kung mas maraming computing power na kailangan, mas maliit yung kailangan kasi billions na yan sa cellphone pa ng billions of transistors and chips, etc. Diba? But yeah, so that's why we need the quantum computing, the qubits na, kasi if we're not gonna change it, Moore's law will be depleted. Then at the end of the day, yung mga needs, especially AI na, in terms of Gen AI, diba? Sobrang laking computing power yung
Metaverse,
autonomous world. Lalaki pa yun kasi yung dataset natin right now, wala pa nga atang 50% yung digitalized datasets ng AI machine learning. And lalaki pa siya in the near future, for sure, as we like put more data online. So yeah, that's a real threat. Isip ko lang bigla.
Lahat kaya ng data, I mean, this is just a random thought I thought about talking to you guys, because this is a very interesting discussion. May future kaya na lahat ng data gagawin, even Merkel.
Okay, you know what? IPLD is doing that right now. Yung IPLD ng interplanetary, yung linked data. So you can basically create any type of data structure into a Merkle tree structure so that it can be looked up wherever, whenever, across the globe. So it's actually built specifically for linking and also for looking up data, yung IPLD. So it's very similar to yung IPFS hashing, right? So when you're creating a file, marami talaga siyang parang links. Ang ipapakita lang sa'yo ni IPFS yung root hash. Pero if you go through it, marami siyang CIDs na parang naka-link. Yeah. So yung IPLD is you can technically onboard any types of data structures. It can be data from a chain, from a Bitcoin chain, from Ethereum chain. So yeah, Christian, technically may project na gano'n na right now that they are promoting to put all of these data into a Merkle tree structure. And the reason for that is for accessibility and also retrievability and verifiability na rin.
Compress rin, di ba? Compress natin yung data into smaller chunks so we can
compress siya. Compress siya, pero one of the benefits kasi of using a Merkle kasi may cons siya na if you use a Merkle, mahirap siyang you have to mas matagal siyang i-marshal back kasi parang links na siya together. Pero ang maganda kasi siya is you can verify a specific data na nasa leaf just by using the root pinakataas. So you have a verifiability without even going dun sa data itself. Yung just by looking at the root CID. So, yun yung pinaka okay sa kanya, yung verifiability. And verifying and data authenticity is very important, especially for example if let's say for example AI and machine learning, right? So you don't want a machine to have a data set na tampered with, right? So you don't want a supervised learned machine na parang ang magiging dataset niya is galing from a dataset na parang minodify ng somewhere, ng someone. Right? You want it verifiable na okay, itong dataset na to is galing from a data scientist. Na ito yung ginawa niyang model, ito yung ginawa niya set. I-feed mo siya sa TensorFlow. Sa TensorFlow, magkakaroon siya ng out, right, based on that input. So, yun yung parang flow ngayon kasi ng di ba, ng AI and chatbots natin. Ganun siya nag-work eh. So, they use a specific data set. They feed that to that machine. And then that machine means it's backed by TensorFlow. And then yung output ng TensorFlow na yun siya magiging output. Data. So, it's very important when you're doing predictive analysis, prediction models. So IPLD, I think for me, IPLD imposes that. So if everyone uses IPLD, parang all of the data structure is going to be in Merkle, but it's always be verifiable and authentic. So
there's also the use case of the next layer tools. So what we're seeing naman in terms of doing that data transformation and security, parang in terms of layer 2, the interoperability of all data, diba, that's gonna be put into blockchain. In the industry use cases, parang since I believe that layer 2 is gonna be the next internet. It's not really the layer 1. So that's why I'm super gung-ho with what's happening to Light Network, because pinag-aaral yung layer 2. So I think the prediction there is layer 2 is, even Vitalik is saying that's gonna be the in terms of how data is gonna be public face and will have interoperability in a way that if the use case is, for example, Starbucks card with storing points on the blockchain, of course we have ZKs to prevent the privacy. We have the private chain as well, the hybrids. But in a nutshell, if our data meets on the layer 2, parang I can buy a Coke using my Starbucks card without even implementing their own loyalty system, diba? That's
like cross chain.
So kasi what the next internet is really in a way advantage to the previous one. It's not phygital, it's not asset based, diba? But because now we have blockchain to support that, every data now it's gonna be asset based. Meaning I can really use that data for me to be able to gain something. I like the previous one that, I mean, if sawan-sawa na tayo, diba, web 1, web 2, web 3, explanation. But it's true diba, parang as long as you own the data, you need to monetize that. So so I think that's the promise that layer 2 is gonna give us in the next. Parang nakikita nga namin dyan parang magsasama-sama yan like, for example, Polygon has alliance with Near Protocol, etc. So may mga ganyan yan that they will really parang create an alliance with Aptos.
Just like parang bridge, right?
Tapos lahat sila magkakaroon ka ng tapos yung mga dApps mo parang Internet Explorer na lang yan because everything is interconnected already.
I mean, I think right now kasi it's happening naman na din like, for example, if you look at Cosmos.
Yep, I was gonna say that.
Yeah. Kasi meron siyang EVM compatibility na rin So meaning if you enable that, you'll be able to create a bridge between EVM based chains, which is like Ethereum, like Oasis, Polygon, even to any Cosmos chains, right? Kasi Cosmos chains, ang dami nating validators. Like what, 520 validators right now? 1.8 million yung accounts niya. Pero it's one of the tapos pwede rin siya I'm not sure kung mayroon ng integration between like Cosmos. For example, Polkadot. Kasi it's another framework, right? Substrate.
So yan yung like ito yung
chain.
The layer 0, diba? They're calling it layer 0.
Yeah.
Layer 0, yeah.
What will happen there? I think one of the L2s will buy a layer 0. So they will be managing that particular, let's say, Cosmos or Polkadot. And that's gonna be the normal way of connecting to layer 2 already. Parang, di ba ngayon nga kasi kailangan pang gumamit ng Cosmos for you to create a dApp that can cross chains, di ba? And bridges as well. So, I don't know, maybe next year, kasi we're hearing some alphas, di ba? Parang, there will be some sort of like
unification. Unify nila.
Unification and also big change with how L2s are being perceived now as like really like, just a scaling solution. But now parang that's gonna be the default talaga of Web3.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. See, that's gonna be the bridge. That's gonna lower the barrier of entry for any Web2 users. L2s. Yun talaga siya ecosystem. Even like yung mga chains right now, they are investing in ecosystem like applications like L2s kasi they know that that's how you attract and you get more usage dun sa L1. Right? So, for example, sa Filecoin, we entirely have like a team na parang focus on building apps on top of Filecoin and also the FVM. So, may sarili na silang ngayon, EVM, which is
FVM.
FVM, which is EVM compatible then, pero it's technically not a clone. It's like written from scratch.
Nice.
So parang ginawa talaga nila. And then IPLD kasi talaga yung parang pinaka core core data, parang data ingestion system nila sa FVM. So I'm not part of the FVM team, pero naka-interact ko lang yung ibang FVM team doon, yung members. Pero yeah, you're right. L2 is gonna be like, to me, in my opinion, yun nga yung parang pinaka-bridge, for that will lower the barrier of entry for any Web2 or Web1 users. So may emphasis talaga doon. Pero I'm not sure kung yung sa unification part. Kasi I guess like, kasi ang napansin ko sa space nito, sa tech space, Web3 space, is like, there's always gonna be someone who's gonna build something new. Kasi parang they think that they know better. You know what I mean? Like parang, okay, sige, Cosmos, okay, they built a framework. And now you have Gavin Wood built a Polkadot, Rust-based. And now parang may iba. So parang gumawa siya ng bagong substrate framework, right? Diba Polkadot is based on substrate framework. So it's like two different sort of L0s or parang frameworks na nag-interact. And like, iyan nakita kong trend like, laging may gagawa ng bagong something. So parang I would be interested to know kung ano yung unification na yun, mangyayari, kung paano siya mangyayari. Like, how do you impose that in this space na parang almost everyone has their own, like, way of doing things. Kasi that's how the space works, right? Parang we're enabling people to just do their own thing, like build their own chains, build their own products, build their own use cases, right? So
I think the major factor there will be the buyouts later on. So that's how big guys do that kasi.
Galit yung mga maximalist niya. Kasi buyouts means parang di ba? Para siyang
corporate.
Corporate, parang So parang yun pa, like, magkakaroon ng ganong side Hindi na napapansin ko like mga maximalist minsan toxic, pero parang may sila may ayaw lang talaga, gusto lang kasi talaga ng full decentralization. Yun yung model na pinupush nila. And in a way, parang if you look at their tech space, parang it is about decentralization, right? So if you put like centralization aspect on it, parang it kind of defeats the purpose. Pero yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose then. And then parang people will go against it.
What's funny is like, feeling ko, nagkaroon tayo ng layer recursion Layer 0, layer 1, layer 2, layer 4, layer 5, layer 6.
Pero to be honest, before we're using layer 3 pero I stopped there. So, no, it doesn't exist pa Parang we're just coining another term, but technically you're just a DApp or you're just an app layer. But if you coin layer 3, what's really layer 3? Unless you created the small chunk, diba, of a super small block inside the layer 2 block, then that's layer 3.
What a widget or portal. Yeah.
So now we're changing in a more, we're coining it more localized based, customizable blockchain. Since we're into use case talaga parang for us, parang choose your own adventure, diba? If you wanna go to public, then use Polygon because that's super simple. What use case do you want? We have pre-templated smart contracts, diba? Tapos, if you want to go private, we have Azure, Microsoft, Confidential Ledger. And yun kasing hybrid, just to explain, I have a paper called Proplic. So Proplic is a combination of hybrid. It's a hybrid, it's public and private, but what it does, if you're familiar with the design pattern, diba, the header line, so the public will be the header, which aggregates the line.
Mhm.
So technically, it's still decentralized in a nutshell because parang may middle entity kami na ginagamit. I called it integrity decoder. So what did happen there? It's decoded. So it's encrypting the line and the header. Meaning hindi mo mabubuksan yung line kapag hindi siya matched dun sa header. So technically, we have another layer. I called it the public, the integrity decoder, which parang encrypts the header and the line. May interpret mo lang yung header and line kapag ginamit mo yung public, diba? So this one, my theory there is by, of course, using MPC, monomorphic,
Monomorphic, okay. Encryption.
And also some sort of like, you're gonna put other validators and nodes. The reason why we're doing that, it's because I believe kasi that, even though you're in the private blockchain, you still need to have some sort of like, integrity, diba? Kasi if you keep your yes, it's in a way, it's not like RDBMS. It's like it's not like NoSQL that you can just edit, diba? There's crude, there's like, in a way, insertion of collections, etc. But of course, there are system tables naman that you will see everything that you did to a table in the SQL. But in blockchain, diba, in DLT, kahit na private yan, we know naman that mahirap pag pinasok mo na dyan, hindi mo naman talaga ma-edit. No, but we're not convinced, diba? If you're into private, it should be having this particular, like, another set of validation. Kaya gamit kami ng public para pag na-disintegrate, hindi nag-total yung some sort of the summation of the data, diba? Parang sabihin niya, oops, inano mo to, inedit mo to. Kasi hindi na siya match dun sa header. So that's the...
Yeah. Pag ganun, so for example, so the way I understand it, so parang meron kang public nodes pa rin ba that will validate? Right?
Yes.
Is that how it works? Okay, then so whenever you have a public validator, that means yung level of, so yung header lang, it's not like the data itself.
Hindi, oo.
Oh, that's a good.
Parang doon pumapasok yung zero knowledge kasi hindi mo pwede talaga tingnan yung privacy kasi yun. Diba? But again, at the end of the day, by doing, diba, the encryption, no, of the two data, and also dun mo nga, pag once na na-edit yung private, hindi na siya magmamatch kasi there's some sort of discrepancy already.
Kasi one of the issues nung like private offering, right? Kasi before, I launched a very, like, in a way, similar product, like blockchain as a service. And one of the things that yung mga enterprise companies that they're asking is that, of course, they want private, pero parang it kind of defeats the purpose na ba't mo pa-private, right? Kasi parang, ba't hindi ka nalang mag-MongoDB or RDBMS nga? Mag-database ka na lang. Kaya, kasi parang it's gonna cost you. Pero parang, they don't want public kasi yung data nila is gonna be publicized, right? So parang, kasi for a public validator to validate your data, it needs to have a copy, right, of a specific data, right? So parang pag ganun, may data jurisdiction na break mo na yung data jurisdiction, hindi sila pwede sa ganun, ayaw nila ng ganun. Pero understanding is with your innovation, so you can validate the header without exposing the data. And then you're basically taking advantage of the public validators. To scale your, that's nice. It's good.
Yun yung thesis ng so inuuna lang namin kasi in Bayani Chain yung PAAS in a way for us to onboard more, diba? Kasi we want to accelerate like the public and the pure private. Pero at the end of course, hindi naman kami super funded company. We didn't even raise, diba? We didn't even raise. All of these are bootstrap and all friends, families. We don't have institutional investor, but of course I have a dem house. I have a direct connection with Microsoft to do cloud, diba? So again, we can still sustain the company. But of course, there's a lot of things to do. As I mentioned, diba, yun yung proposal ko actually, bro, with Comelec, diba? That specific framework that
I actually, yung next question ko, yung sa government sort of entities na, you're part of. Ano yung impression nila sa blockchain as a whole? Are they like accepting it? Do they understand it? So for yeah.
Depende sa use case eh. So ako, ito lagi sinasabi ko, di ba? Parang for me, ito lang yung sinasabi na. Parang, yes, there are some corruption that will happen and we cannot avoid that whatever technology we use. And in fact, when we did nga our study with Comel, hindi naman talaga sa technology nangyayari yung usual dadayaan. It's really the system of our election. Like if we, di ba, if we use the people process technology na kind of analysis, diba? I think IBM then mahilig sa ganyang analysis. Like the people aspect is like really 80% and that 70%, 20% is process. When you go to precincts, you will see that it's both buying, it's system.
Yeah.
Like, parang may nakatanim na tao doon that parang doon sa precinct, di ba? Tapos mapakita niya, ito binoto ko, etc. At the end of the day, technology will just shut. But if we use DLT or blockchain or whatever, as the immutability also and the transparency, at least when we use that, it's easy to audit, diba? And detect some sort of like fraud and some sort of like patterns, diba? Kasi for example, with big data analysis, with AI, smart contract audit, with all of this tools that we currently have right now, diba? Even RPAs, I'm sure 100% if our data is in the blockchain, whether it's public or private, it's easy for us to analyze the patterns.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi malalaman mo agad kung may daya dahil simpleng edit lalabas yan sa ledger. So kahit private. So yeah, so that's our rewards. And also even though mabababaw yung use case now, but it's some sort of like they need to understand that before they can really parang makaisip ng iba't ibang use case. And that's what, of course, that's when adoption will come in, diba? When in a way, yung mabababaw na use case na gawa na natin. So, yeah, so that's how we engage with the government. Parang exploration lang.
Kasi, yun nga, I guess I wanted to point out earlier na parang progression nga siya, It's not like, hindi mo siya pwedeng i-attack head-on na parang, immutability agad, ganyan. So, like you have to, ako in my case, parang you have to divide and conquer. Like, go inside first. Then, as you mentioned, parang exploration, make them understand how this technology works, and then mga simple use cases. And then, as soon as like they realize na parang we can do this, parang yun yung magiging, parang it's gonna be a natural progression na within, like inside the government.
Technology is very complex but we're not presenting ourselves like that. I think that's our secret to them.
Yeah.
Parang I don't need to discuss zero knowledge. I don't need to discuss like some sort of MPCs there, the EOMs, the smart contract wallet. They need to understand why, why do we need this, diba? And yun pa nga lang part na yun is super hard na to imagine. I said, diba, parang ano ba namin kailangan? Meron naman kaming SQL. Ano ba madadagdag sa amin?
Ano ba? May expertise sa kami, right? Why do we need to relearn and retool, right? So
and that's that's not like 5 days discussion. No, it's like 1 to 2 to 3 months discussion yan before you really convince them to do that.
Kasi same dito so diba, I work with PL and then may mga may ecosystem team kami na who works with different organizations, enterprise companies who wants to use this type of technology. Even them, parang ang hirap pa rin i-explain sa kanila. Ang hirap din hindi nila naiintindihan agad-agad on how it actually works. And dito na siya sa US na, there should be more open to this kind of innovation. Pero hindi siya ganun ka. hindi siya madali. Hirap.
Lang we're just very blessed that we DBM is very supportive with the initiative. Thanks to their undersecretary si Sexasa with she's the CIO. Parang technocrat so again and also cybersecurity kasi so yun yung pinopromote niya. In a way she understood naman how blockchain can really help enhance security. Yun muna yung una but ang dami pang use cases. So yeah, I think there are some sort of people in the government that
knows
katulad niya or that knows, diba? Parang you just need to find the right sweet spot ng agency. Pero for me, parang I'm advocating zero trust. when I started
That's framework.
my Zero Trust, diba? That's a framework, yeah. So when I started, actually, kaya nga pala nung una ko, di ba nung company ko ngayon, yung DevOps ko, it's supposed to be a cybersecurity firm. The path has changed since Microsoft needed partners kasi to do mga CRM, ERPs, and deep tech migrations. We're talking about 25 million worth of data. We're talking about AI on top of CRM. Now, I've been advocate of zero trust ever since. So the problem kasi, especially in the government and even other private, entities, they're treating cybersecurity kasi as a technology game. Well, it's not. It's not.
No.
Cybersecurity is it's a best practice. It's a lot of best practices that came from anti-patterns, diba? Yan yung mga pagkakamali na, ito hindi ko na-patch, ito dapat pala hindi naka-open yung port 3340 or whatever. So, ngayon, yung cybersecurity na alam natin, mababaw kasi more of like firewalls.
Yeah.
Firewalls. Like antivirus. Diba? Daming kumikita sa pagbebenta ng mga firewalls, diba? Well, I'm not discounting those tools. Kasama yan. But it starts kasi with the proper framework. And if you go with zero trust, never trust, always verify. It's really parang pinaka-inuuna yan palang identity. Who has access to this? And that will point to blockchain, diba? As one of the like yun nga, diba, sabi mo nga you're into data ID, digital ID, sovereignties, etc. I think when we speak technology, to add some sort of layer, we really need to have identity management on chain and driven by smart contract. Para at the end of the day, decentralize yung identity management. You never trust. Smart contract never trust anyone. It's a pure code, not kings, diba? That's why we entrusted our money sa crypto kasi smart contracts.
Yeah. Like public key infrastructure. Yeah, it's
if you use the same level of process and also technology, then that will strengthen the identity management, which is part of zero trust. Yan ang pinakaunang tinitingnan ng zero trust, who has access to this particular app. That sumusunod na lang dyan yung endpoint management, data applications, then it's really framework, not it's not a technology play. So that's my definition of cybersecurity. And it's hindi siya mahal, to be honest. Hindi siya mahal. Mindset and culture yung binabago mo talaga.
So
it's about the training, it's like more on the SOPs and more on the training that's required. It's like you need to do this and this, make sure that this is done, this is short, this is placed before you do this. So nakikita ko that's even for myself, like when I do my private key or my reloading or loading of my wallets, meron ako sariling protocol to make sure na hindi ako compromised in some way. So it's really about that.
So to just to add, parang ang nagiging problem din kasi, like all of like naman kaya ka gumagastos because these are all reactive or response mo na kasi may breaches ka na or nangyari na sa'yo before. But if you will really get to the root of it, cybersecurity starts super cheap kasi number one, it will start of very, very basic na, like for example, when we're talking about emails, diba, or your collaboration tool, naka-on ba yung MFA mo, diba? Something like that. It's very basic. It's a culture thing. And sa atin, mga developers, diba, mga architects, DBA guy ka man, or diba, or mahilig ang mag-API or
infra,
or diba, whatever, Python ka man o diba, scripting ka man or object, or dun pa lang when there's a mindset of like culture of security, kasi there is what they call the well architected framework, and it's being discussed on that framework that when you're architecting something, security is one of your layers and one of the first thing that you need to understand. Every time you write a code, not only ship but write a code, you're always thinking of some sort of is this code gonna be causing vulnerabilities in the near future, something like that.
Yeah.
But we're all guilty, diba? Kasi gusto natin mabilis. But we would realize Di ba, you will realize, kung pinakinggan ko yung auditor, kung pinakinggan ko yung project manager, di ba? Kung pinakinggan ko yung architect, di na sana ako nag-fix ng 20 plus line of codes na lumabas sa VAPT testing na ano, di ba? Parang there's some sort of like thing, parang nakikita natin when we were in the industry.
Kasi minsan ano eh, may cases kasi na parang gusto nila mabilis, right? And then like minsan you ignore those security. Pero kaya ano eh, it's really like, you know, as an architect and as a developer, you need to learn how to code, you know, bake security into your coding, unit testing as well, functional test, lahat. Right? You have to like use all of these tools. Buti nga may mga tools right na ngayon eh, na parang checks your code for vulnerabilities, right? Just create a GitHub action and then parang makikita mo na ano yung mga vulnerable code, ano yung mga parang tingin mo hindi na okay. Kahit sa mga ano eh, front-end na ngayon eh, lint, and then yung mga ibang ano, not really lint, pero yung mga formats, not really, yung ano, yung ibang mga ganong tools, code analysis. Dami ng gano'n eh. Before kasi, near yun, or kung meron man, mahal. Parang gano'n, mahal. Ngayon, may mga open source, alternatives.
For example, JMeters, di ba? Parang,
JMeter.
At some sort, parang, pero kailangan mo rin maintindihan eh, di ba? Kasi before ka mag-front-end talaga na testing tool na sobrang dali na. May hihirapan ka rin mag-get sa mga smoke test, etc. Pag di mo alam eh, diba? Kaya nga, ayun eh, parang, pero alam mo, pinakamagandang experience namin when you really have a big project, especially with, like, you know, some sort of like mga companies na malalaki. Kasi maninibago ka eh when you first start to deal with them kasi napaka-pro ng approach nila, due diligence nila in terms of your architecture, diba? So there's yung discipline na yun, I think makukuha mo yun when you're into corporate.
Enterprise and corporate lang. I'm so thankful na yun yung 8 years of experience ko sa enterprise. Kasi parang iba talaga, no? Transition ako from enterprise to startups. Parang yung discipline, yung process, yung flows, methodology, and all, na-apply ko siya dito. And then, iba talaga siya. Iba, like, kasi ano, yung first part of my career, Java dev ako. As in Java, you're a .NET guy, so parang medyo similar, medyo the way C#. Pero sa Java, sa Java programming, as in, like, you have to, there's a methodology, there's a way to do it, especially sa banks, right? Sa banks, kailangan may conceptual design ka na bulletproof, na parang dapat talagang well thought out, and then you have to get the vote of the senior architects. So you have to parang may thesis pa yun na you have to present it to the designers and architects noon, na parang kailangan mag-agree sila sa design mo before you can even start a project. And then parang saka mo siya i-develop, and then halfway meron kang parang checks. It's I don't know, it's a very rewarding experience to me. Lalo sa Macquarie, it's like crazy yung ang antindi ng process. Pero yeah, it's very important to have that kind of discipline and also have that kind of experience na when you code, you have to code with, you know, security baked in, right? So you have to like have the sort of ethics na ethical part of it, where like when you code this, you have to ensure na you built it in a secure manner, right? You have the security in place, like you have the optimization in place as well. So,
Natatandaan ko dati nung hindi pa kami NoSQL na
RDBMS.
So RDBMS, pinagsusulat pa kami ng data dictionary sa So imagine that, diba? Papa-approve mo yun bago.
Mapa-approve mo yun eh. Wow.
So my background kasi, I'm more of a DBA.
Okay.
SQL guy, script, etc. Rather than really developing front-end and functions. Kaya kaaway ko yung, I know devs, diba? I do that. I do C#. In fact, may nahawakan ako pangalan C-side. So C-side, it's not an object-oriented. It's an object-based. When I say object-based, nakalatag sa'yo yung object. Di ka pwede mag-create ng bago. So kung tables yan, functions, etc., dun mo lang siya kukuha. Navision kasi ganyan, it's an ERP system. So yung imagine the discipline na bawal akong mag-work around kasi kailangan tama lahat ng or else may tatamaan. So, like, for example, if you're coding into business applications, especially here, hindi pwede basta-basta ka lang mag-ship na. Dati nga, hindi pa uso yung ship na
term. Waterfall.
Diba?
Every 6 months yung deployment.
So, pag ginawa mo, tapos bigla pa lang may tinamaan ka na ibang table, may hindi kagana na Ngayon, may bihira na yung ganong issue eh, 'di ba? Especially when unstructured, like databases and also scripting. Medyo nawala yung discipline in a way, but again, yun nga eh, pag kinausap mo yung mga old school developers, matututo rin sila and matututo ka sa kanila. Tapos you can use that eh. You can still use that.
Yeah, I can still use it, yeah. Kasi I guess kaya sila nag-evolve, right? Kasi like, for example, ako sa banking. Kasi na-experience ko yung transition eh. From like a waterfall to a Scrum type methodology. The reason why the way we transition is, do we want to deliver fast as possible? Like 2 weeks, right? Yun yung sa Scrum, like every 2 weeks, you ship features. Before that, we were shipping like every 3 months. Right? And then parang dapat sa Scrum, co-located kayo lahat. Like dapat QA, tas may Scrum Master. Tapos merong infra, may DBA. So, ako kasi sa middleware, sa service side, so sa engineering, sa software, sa building features for the apps. So, I coordinate with database DB admins. For example, if I need a table, sometimes ganun nga. Dumating ako sa point, naisip ko ngayon dati sa banking, pag kailangan mo ng table, gagawa ka ng script. Either papagawa mo siya or gagawa ka ng script and then meron kaming staging environment for those scripts. Kailangan re-review pa nila yung SQL scripts mo. So, kunyari, kailangan ko ng table. Gagawa ko ng SQL scripts. Create table this and then yung mga fields. Tapos ilalagay mo siya sa app and then i-review nyo ng DBA. Tapos, okay, sige, approve. Pag i-approve niya, saka lang mag-execute yun dun sa DBA.
Ano ba yun? Kasi meron pa kasi mga stored procedure na kailangan nila eh. Kasi parang i-check yung mga validity ng table kung may dope.
Tapos, pag nag-deploy kami noon, merong deployment strategy. Tapos may rollback strategy din, right? So, kailangan yung scripts mo may roll forward, roll back, if ever. So kung may data changes ka, kailangan may rollback ka din na data changes. It's minsan pag naalala ko siya, parang like wow, like napaka-pulido ng process. Ngayon kasi sa startups parang na lang eh. Build, ship, go. Sige lang, gawa na ng gawa. Like push lang ng push. Pero minsan pero kasi yun eh, just to save on cost lang din, right? Pag gano'n, kasi I guess yun isa sa reason to save on cost para lang kasi nga fast-paced na eh. So may mga competitors na eh. For startup ka kasi marami ka competitor eh. So kailangan mas pinakamabilis ka. Pag for example sa Oracle kasi wala namang competitor halos yun eh. Minsan nga users ang yung customer nag-a-adjust for sa system eh, sa Oracle.
Hindi na eh.
Hindi na eh. So ngayon parang customer-centric na eh.
Very important kasi talaga yung agile eh. Kasi number one competitor shift, pabilisan ng shift ng go to market, go to production, 'di ba? Fixes, etc. And yung mga sprints, 'di ba? At the end of the day, before wala namang ganyan eh. Kasi matagal talaga bago kayo magkita. But
waterfall.
Ang kagandahan lang ngayon sa Agile, especially if you're using Scrum in terms of delivery methodology, nagkakaroon lang ng some sort of na-identify mo talaga yung problema agad. Yes, before talaga na maghihinta waterfall, maghihintayan kayo ng phases. Bago nyo palang
build unit test lang, no? Tapos pag QA, doon mo na matetest talaga. Tapos sa'yo. Tapos
yung problema doon, kung RDBMS, pag nagkamali ka ng isang structure ng table, maraming nakakonect. Kasi may primary, may foreign key, saka primary key manage. Tapos ka doon, uulitin mo.
Uulitin mo, miss ko. Ngayon ko na naisip, ngayon ko na naibalik ko, ngayon ko na para naisip ulit, no? Man, yung experience ko dun sa Macquarie, gano'n siya.
So, that's the orientation. That's why I like blockchain. Kasi well-disciplined yung, hindi ka pwede, blockchain, hindi mo naman pwede, in a way, ibara-bara.
Smart contracts, no? Like, doon na siya, immutable na siya eh. Hindi mo yan pwedeng i-rollback. Pag i-deploy mo, hindi pwede i-rollback eh.
Kaya di ba merong like updatable smart contract. Medyo for me parang di ako masyadong convinced kasi nawawala lang yung essence.
Nawawala. Wow. Ngayon ko lang narinig yung talaga may parang updatable smart contracts. Parang nawawala yung essence, nawawala yung nawawala yung defeats the purpose. So wala na ganun. I haven't pero ganun.
You can update your code. Tapos there's this version ng EVM I forgot, pero meron kang, you can make it fractional in such a way in certain parts. Just export it to another contract, then yung contract na redeploy mo na lang with your new changes. We've done that before. I think some project ba yun? Cash cows. with Blanquera, we did something similar like that. Sa kanya ko pinaka natutunan yun, yung fractional niya yung parts, and then yung parts na yun, pag may changes o may mali, yung certain fraction na lang na yun yung i-deploy niya. So, lower yung cost overall dun sa deploy costs namin.
Pero can you still update that even after production?
Yeah.
Like for example, may nangyari.
Kasi in that moment, I remember nagkaroon ata kami ng mali in terms of the initiation eh. Tapos, ang ginawa ni Blanqueres, nag-deploy lang siya na ayos na. Yung pagkakaalala.
Pero bagong contract yun. Pero
bago.
Contract yun. So, you have to review it.
Oo, bago. Kala ko in-update mo yung mismong smart contract ng unang deploy mo.
Oo, yun. Parang... Kasi,
pero pinalingit lang niya yung tawag ito, area of effect eh. Parang dinelegate niya into different contracts yung certain parts of the main contract para may wrong in this area, hindi na i-deploy yung buong contract, this section na lang.
Pwede talaga.
Cheaper.
May ganun talaga. Sa Ethereum may ganun talaga.
Sa Solana, you can update.
Okay. Pero sorry, sa Ethereum, di mo talaga pwede, kahit sa EVM, di mo naman talaga pwede i-update.
Hindi pwede. That's ang laking vulnerability nga. Or pwede mo i-update yung source code. Anyway, parang pwede mo gawing mintable bigla yung token. Parang
ang funny na discussion. It's a really good discussion kasi yung depth niya. So, kumbaga the depth of yung mileage when it comes to tech. As a person who was born into Agile, although nag-waterfall ako, pero sarili yung waterfall lang yun. Nung bata ako, nag-waterfall ako eh. Pero kasi yun dati eh. Pero hindi nag-waterfall na enterprise. Nabuhay ako sa mundo ng Agile. So when I was listening to you guys, pero pala kalala ako enterprise systems noon. Nag-grab yung mga systems nyo. Pero pag sa Agile ka, sa startup ka, parang ang saying nga, diba? Ship faster, break things. Ganun na kasi yun.
So, yung scope sa enterprise, mas mas critical siya eh. Like, for example, for me, banking. Like, you're literally, ako, nasa wealth management pa kayong application na inaano ko. So, hindi ka pwede kamali doon.
Hindi pwede.
Millions of dollars yun, nando doon sa
alam mo,
post.
sa ERP, kapag ka nagkamali ka lang doon ng isang debit credit, especially pag taxes pinag-uusapan natin, yung customer mo mapa-fine. Mapa-fine ng sobrang million-billion doon, especially pag large taxpayer. So, yun yung discipline ng enterprise system talaga. Sobrang hindi mo pwedeng, kung hindi mo alam, hindi mo talaga alam. Parang hindi mo pwedeng tsambahan. Kaya tumatagal yung mga projects, parang sa overall project timeline, 1 taon, pero umaabot ng 3 years na. Kasi, di ba? Kasi kailangan, pag may nag-resign na tao, kailangan mong balikan lahat ng history ng project eh.
Quality assurance din, due diligence, lahat. Honestly, ang daming business development and ang daming business side of adjustments and coordination din.
Kaya ako strategy ko sa Active, bro, ganito. Active kasi when I started it, parang 3 lang kami. Ngayon, 42 next. So, ang strategy ko sa Active is, meron akong ERP developer na siya yung supervisor ng mga developer ko na nasanay na ng mga NoSQL, ng JavaScript, ng Node na lang, etc. Doon parang, fan ako ng Unstructured, don't get me wrong. I really love it. Para mabilis talaga. Pero doon mo din malalaman like, yung kung paano sila tumira, medyo walang disiplina nga eh. Parang hindi na nila validate yung mga tinatamaan na functions eh. Pero, ang strategy ko, inuupo ko na supervisor ng developers, yun talagang galing sa ERP. Galing talaga sa RTBNS. Kasi doon pa lang, pag nakita niya na parang ba't wala kang validation? Parang tumutuloy, di ka man lang nagwa-validate ng ganyan. Nalalaman namin, so bumibilis kami. But of course, Gen AI, nandyan na rin. So, ngayon, parang at the end of the day, yung supervisor, tuwan-tuwa kasi kinaka-copy-paste na lang yung code. Nakikita niya na agad yung mga... Saka co-pilot's really helping us. Yung 5 before mga 5 days na 5 days na bug fixing namin, ngayon 2 hours na lang. Supposed to be dapat magsi-60 yung active this year. Kinap na namin sa 40. Kasi kahit dumami yung projects, yung active kasi just to give you context, hindi Web3 yan As in, pa rin, enterprise development pa rin. Yun, nakita namin yung power as in before developers like 1:3. Ngayon nagwa 1:5 dahil sa co-pilot.
Okay nga yung co-pilot. It's parang meron kang developer, may pair programming na developer.
Yes.
So it's really useful.
Saka yung
ng POC. Yeah.
Saka yun ngayon pag nagbabug fix, even ChatGPT for example. Dami nilang ang bilis nilang gumawa kasi parang binibigay instead na ikaw ang maghanap, 'di ba? Kasi yung co-pilot sa ChatGPT yung naghahanap.
Siya yung parang bigay.
Pero kung hindi ka talaga developer, hindi talaga malalim understanding mo, hindi mo pa rin mai-implement. Kailangan pa rin talaga may domain knowledge.
Yeah. Parang bibigyan ka lang yung idea, ito yung maybe potential fix. Minsan nga parang yung potential fix na binibigay parang hindi siya okay talaga.
Hindi pa rin, no? Hindi pa rin.
Pero at least meron ka nagkaroon ka ng parang, okay, ito yung
diba tayo?
Light bulb.
The starting point na, parang ganun.
Diba tayo when we develop, pag paulit-ulit ka, especially loops, diba? Parang pag nagkakaroon ng error, pag nag-iba yung error, masaya ka eh. Kasi nag-iba yung error eh.
Yung sigma eh.
Progress ako.
Modpass na.
Yeah.
Diba? Pero yung pag ginawa mo sa Copilot, sa GPT, nagkaka-head start ka, diba? Na parang, oops, iba yung ano nito ah. Yung ini-expect ko, iba yung the way niya sinosolve eh. Diba? Parang gano'n.
Yeah, sobrang useful nga ng mga tools right now. Ang bilis nga ngayon mag-develop. Parang wala na excuse eh. Nyari ka senior engineer ka, parang ito na dito na yung tools. Andito na yung mga automation,
What did I really like, parang my point of view in AI? I called it augmented intelligence. Kasi for me, so Einstein has 200 IQ, diba? Like, a normal, 180 to 200. A normal person, siguro bang 100, 120. Si Christian, baka 150 yan. Talino yan si Christian. UP yan. Anyway, so
150, wow. Yeah.
So my point there, parang kahit 100 IQ pa lang, because of generative AI and also not generative but also yung mga, let's say for example, mga thinking machines, 'di ba, or some sort of like, mga sobrang narrow AI na may sinosolve na particular or specific problem. When you augment yourself by that, you can top Einstein level, 'di ba? Kaya mo pantayin si Einstein. In solve physics. Now, parang ako, I got a lot of like, submission, mga papers, tapos mga proposal. Because of like, ChatGPT, Copilot, supposed to be yung English, medyo kaya ko na kasi, diba? Now, but I analyze. But at the end of the day, bumibilis ako. Mas nagiging productive ako. Na-accelerate yung IQ. And sinasabi nga namin parang at the end of the day, hindi naman yung job yung nare-replace. It's the task. Kasi yung task mo, especially automated or clerical or repetitive task, wala tayong magagawa dyan eh. Mawawala yan eh. Kasi
time lang. Yeah.
Oo that's the nature eh. That's the nature of the technology. Yeah, but job. Kung yung job mo, at the end of the day, based on experience, meaning talagang kailangan gamitin mo yung experience mo. May konting emotional, diba? And ngayon, wala pa din namang sentient na AI eh. Still need to be human eh. Pero yung kung ang job mo, marami kang task, tas puro clerical, mawawala ka talaga. And I don't want to sugarcoat, but it will happen really fast.
I imagine nga na in the future, pag nag-mature talaga si ChatGPT, parang I imagine na parang all of us will have like AI agents.
Oh, ay bro,
parang can do this, can do that, can do this.
Meron na. So,
meron ba?
So, idol namin ngayon si Stable Diffusion, diba? Stability.
Yeah.
So, what they're trying to do is to compress yung knowledge ni GPT into MB, diba? Kasi ngayon, laki niyan eh.
Laki. Wala
diba?
Yung MB lang, talaga.
Ngayon, what they're trying to innovate is like, if you have, like, maybe 1 gig nga eh, or maybe, let's say, 250 MB of knowledge that was compressed. And vectorized, are you familiar with vectorized database? So, super hot yan eh. So, what will happen is you can store that specific software, diba? Or maybe I can say database inside your mobile phone. And that's already your own GPT. Yan yung gusto nila. So,
parang
ang ini-envision nila in the next maybe 2 to 5 years from now kasi napanood ko yung talk ng 3 months 3 months yata. 3 months ago. Sabi nila kaya. So ang vision nila, ang lahat ng tao magkaroon ng sarili niyang, generative AI. Yan yung
okay yun kasi it's gonna be parang progressive yun eh. Progressive nga yung ganun eh kasi everyone is gonna have Kasi ako, I see this as an extension of our mind.
Yep.
On of our capabilities. So imagine you have like multiple agents of AIs that you can just, for example, entrepreneur ka, and then you have a lot of ventures. You have a lot of like, you want to do a lot of things. You want to do like start ventures. You can technically like parang do everything at the same time kasi meron kang mga agents, meron kang helpers, meron kang mga ganun. And then if they can minimize that size to 2 MB, I think that's a good start kung ginagawa talaga nila yun right now. Kasi parang technically kung inisip ko kung 2 MB, parang kaya nga din yun sa like let's say sa augmented reality na glasses na like you have like not just a mobile phone but sa glasses mo mismo, right? So parang and then you can sort of parang voice commands na agent 1 do this, agent 1 do this. Parang it's inisip ko parang ganun yung ganun yung magandang mangyayari eventually sa ChatGPT. Kasi ako right now ginagamit ko rin siya from time to time to like to just look at the yung pag may topics ako na gusto kong I want to learn about. Sometimes ginagamit ko siya for for coding itself din minsan parang sige pag may problem nga na parang bakit nagpanic dito sa line na to sige check ko bakit ganyan. Pero I think it's gonna be it's gonna be an interesting times in 5 years.
It's there na. Kasi ako, my theory is we're living in 2049 now. So we had this study in Microsoft. When the lockdown happened, March and April, diba? In just 2 months' time, we consumed 2 years worth of data in just 2 months' time. That was March and April 2020. Ano lang yun Teams, Microsoft 365 Dynamics, diba? Hindi pa kasama yung Zoom, hindi pa kasama yung
iba.
Imagine that data, diba? Imagine that data. But this is me, like, I'm speculating as well that parang kaya siguro na-release yung ChatGPT ng maaga. Kasi maybe the GPT itself, the generative kind of, what GAN is there, the theory, diba? Yung mga, yung GAN, etc. But they are all in a way still being developed. Pero imagine mo, because of the data that we harvested, diba? So they now have data. Hindi naman gagana yung machine learning saka AI kung walang data. So, it's free testing to them, diba? Kaya bumilis. So, I think parang ako, may tinitingnan lang ako lagi na 3D sa technology, like if democratize na siya, demonetize na siya, saka dematerialize, diba? And that's what's happened to blockchain. So, in fact, as you can see, 2015, di ba, nag-explore na tayo ng blockchain. Pero bakit ngayon lang ako nag-create ng blockchain startup? Kasi na-demonetize, na-democratize na siya. Saka na-dematerialize na. Before, hindi Yung mga notes, mahirap gawin yan. Tapos, hyperlink, ang lalang server na kailangan. Ngayon,
parang may mga quick nodes na containerized na siya lahat. Like, mabilis na siyang i-gawin.
Tapos mga Infura, Morales, di ba? Yung mga yan, di ba? As in, dati, di ko alam kung meron na, but di naman sobrang mainstream eh. Ngayon, ang bilis ng gumawa ng dApps di ba? So, parang for me, this is the right. Kasi di ba parang sinasabi nga, yung startup, it's all about time. So, one is also, if yun nga, yung 3Ds, democratization, dematerialization, and demonetization ng isang technology. Pero na lang kung sobrang dami mong pera, diba, kaya mong i-sustain. Pero kung yung first mover advantage, pero kung hindi pa siya sobrang democratized at hindi pa sobrang mura ng tech, I think mahihirapan ka mag-survive, especially pag wala pa siyang use case. Kaya kung nandito tayo sa pace na nagbi-build tayo at this point, then we're at the right time. I'm 100%.
We're very lucky. Actually, guys, I know we have great discussions. I can see that. But beyond that, Sir Paul, it was wonderful having this discussion with you. I was sitting here and I was listening to Alvin and you. Ang nakita ko lang from the fundamental is that we all have different companies. We all have different things we're building. But at the end of it all is that we share the passion and love for technology. And I've seen that with you and Alvin, and I've been inspired. Sabi ko, you know, like when you see technology stuff, you realize there's so much more you gotta learn. So much more you gotta go through, and that inspires me. But this is your moment, Sir Paul. This is the moment where you, if you have anything to share, promote anything you want to say to the world, this is your time.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you guys, diba? I mean, Christian naman, saka the Web3 Philippines community. I've been supportive of the movement since I think we're promoting kind of like deeper understanding about yeah, I mean for me, well, it's really the adoption. I think the Philippines, for me, I believe that we can still be second to first world country. Diba? I think till my son, siguro maaabutan pa naman yan at my life if we're gonna like produce more builders. Kasi we have all the users, we have all the data. In fact, GCash 8 has 81 million users, diba? Tapos so according to stats, and I think we're on track, smartphone device user will be around 95 million here in the Philippines. But how do we capitalize that? Many foreign entities use Philippines as their test market. Why? Because we have more users, diba? In terms of the consumer side. And that's why I encourage builders, diba, in the space. But it's also some sort of like, you need to be you need to learn and you need to research and you need to be very deep about a specific technology or whatever, diba, business or something. Hindi pa pwede kasing nakita mo lang sa internet site tas magtatayo ka na ng negosyo, etc. Diba? It's hard But yeah, I really encourage everyone, lalo na in the tech space, to really look at the future of the Philippines. Yun lang naman ako that's my motivation. In fact, it's not even about money for me. No? The reason also why I created Hacktiv, because I want to employ and recognize Philippines as one of the global leaders in terms of Microsoft technology. Yun mga simple yung mga simple mission ko lang, no. And in Bayani Chain, yeah, so when we just testing it, diba, we launch our BAAS, some few clients there. So if you want to, as an industry, if you want use case, just contact us. We will guide you through. We're not charging anything now, diba? The partial charging is around $49 per month. 500 API calls, that's it. But it's more of like for us to test. But if you need more, like, Paul, hindi pa kami convinced, and then let's talk, diba? We can extend that 3 to 6 months. We don't know as long as the use case is really compelling, diba? For us to be able to continue. Yeah. So, Nika, continues naman. I think we're gonna launch I think si Jello na lang magsasabi nito, but we're gonna launch our Likha cert. So, it's a COA pala, sorry. Certificate of Authenticity on Likha. It's gonna be next month. We use excited ako sa tech kasi medyo okay siya. Parang we use ERC 721. We use ERC 721. We derived our own smart contract from ERC 721, but we put inscription instead of capitalizing on metadata.
Oh,
right. So
iba yung base URI.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to capitalize on that, diba? Kasi nga, for us kasi, we want to really preserve something na pag nilagay mo yung art mo, diba? Kailangan authentic. Kasi we know naman metadata can be updated, etc. Of course, I'm also into your advocacy. IPFS, we're really fan of that. In fact, may ginagawa kami na parang encryption na towards IPFS. Tas yung open source namin para so diba in terms of base 64, diba nilalagay mo yan, so technically pwede kang maglagay talaga ng image inside the blockchain na hindi ginagamitan ng
base 64. Base 64 is encoded pero may limit siya, pero kung image lang
so gusto namin gawin i-marry yung dalawa with IPFS, tapos gagawa na lang kami ng decoder na mabubuksan mo siya kapag something like that. Anyways, there's a lot of plan in the
so maybe I think you like my project then. I don't know.
Pag-usapan
natin. Kasi I handle multiple replications of the data across different DSNs. So hindi lang siya IPFS, iba-iba din. So
we have a lot of experiment, diba? But yun nga, parang when we tested naman, kasi again, guys, hindi ko naman alam lahat unless proven, it's all theory coming from me. I am a theorist more than more than an experiment guy. But that's why parang some sort of like I really need good engineers. Some sort of that's what's gonna yun lang yung busy ko. Yun lang yung pinagkakabisihan ko with Bayani Chain. But sila Jello naman, they're managing our words, Likha, etc. But ako more of, I want to really improve the product.
All right. Hi, guys. This is Blockchain for Executives, where we teach you how you can leverage blockchain technology for your business.